SEP IRAs can be one of the best retirement accounts for self-employed people. I've been using a SEP IRA for the last few years, and so in this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what a SEP IRA is, whether setting one up makes sense for you, and how you can use this type of account to set aside over $60,000 per year towards retirement. Quick note before we dive in, this is not financial advice, but if you do want to use the platform that I personally use for my SEP IRA, you can find that down in the description below. But let's dive in and start off with what a SEP IRA actually is. Well, it's an IRA or individual retirement account designed for a business owner with minimal employees. And we'll talk about why that is in just a second. Essentially how the account works though, is that contributions are tax deductible today, and then you're going to be taxed in retirement on those funds. Pretty much the same as any other pre-tax retirement account like a traditional IRA. Now, the reason this type of account is generally best for companies with few full-time employees is because of the rules that the IRS puts in place. Specifically, the rule that all employees must be treated equally. But before we talk about what that actually means, let's define what an employee actually is by the IRS standards in this case. Well, the person has to meet 3 different criteria. The first of which is that they're 21 years of age or older. The second is that they've worked for you for 3 of the last 5 years. And then third, you must pay them more than $600 per year. If they meet all 3 of those criteria, you have to contribute the same percentage of their earnings to their account as you contribute of your earnings to your account. So let's say you make $100,000 per year and you want to put $10,000 in your SEP IRA. You also then, say they make $50,000, you'd have to contribute $5,000 of your money into their SEP IRA, which is now their money. So this plan can get expensive very quickly if you do have a lot of full-time employees. Now, there's also going to be a contribution limit that you're not allowed to exceed. There's a contribution limit of up to $66,000 per year in 2023. So pretty high compared to other retirement accounts like a traditional IRA. However, within that cap, you're also capped at 25% of your compensation. You can't contribute more than 25% of what you make into a SEP IRA. And if you're self-employed, that number actually drops to 20%. Now, back when I was in school getting my finance degree, I learned why that was. Now I really don't know, but I know the math behind it is you have to divide the contribution rate of 25% by 1 plus the contribution rate, so 1.25, and that's where the number comes from. Why you do that math, I'm not quite sure, but some mysteries are better left unsolved. You'll need to make at least $330,000 in net self-employment income for the year in order to max it out. If you're making less than that, then you're going to be limited by 20% of your compensation. Now, with that money that you put into your SEP IRA, you can invest those funds into stocks, bonds, index funds, mutual funds, and really anything else that you could invest in with a traditional IRA. On top of that, you are actually allowed to contribute to both a SEP IRA and a traditional IRA at the same time. But you'll only be able to deduct your traditional IRA contributions if your income is less than $68,000. So generally, it's not going to be super practical to do both a SEP IRA and a traditional IRA unless you're rolling 100% of both of those into a Roth IRA. Now, one of the most common questions I'm asked is, what is the difference between a SEP IRA and a solo 401k? These are like 2 of the most common types of retirement accounts for small businesses. Now, I've got a whole video comparing the 2, which you can find up here, but the short of it is that the SEP IRA is much simpler, it's typically free, and it's going to be best in most cases when you're making less money. However, if you're profiting over $60,000 a year from your business and you want to stash away as much money as humanly possible for retirement, the solo 401k generally will have the potential to give you more bang for your buck. So that being said, who is a SEP IRA actually for? Well, fortunately, there are no age or income restrictions. You just have to be a business owner with an EIN or employer identification number, and probably minimal full-time employees, because that's going to get very expensive. It's ideal for you if you want to save for retirement on a pre-tax basis with minimal hassle. And it's intended to help you save for retirement, which the rules of a SEP IRA are going to hold you to. The 2 most important of which are that withdrawals prior to the age of 59 and a half might incur a 10% early withdrawal penalty. You're going to be required to take required minimum distributions from your account at age 73 or 75, depending on how old you currently are. So now if you're like, this sounds like a good account for me, how do you actually set one up? Well, it's a pretty simple process. If you're self-employed, there are a bunch of free options out there. The one that I use personally is completely free, and it's pretty much as simple as setting up a traditional IRA. That is, unless you have full-time employees that are going to be eligible participants, in which case it's probably going to be best to talk to a pro about that. But my recommendation in the platform that I personally use is at the top of the description below. It's free, it's simple, and it's fully automated. Basically, all you do is set your target investment allocation once, you set up recurring deposits, and then you literally forget about it. And there's a free bonus when you use the link below, which is pretty cool. The only thing you'll want to watch out for here is just ensuring that you don't contribute too much, because that could result in penalties if you go above that contribution limit. Now, although this is not a particularly difficult process, it never hurts to talk to a professional. I'm happy to answer your comments down below, but I am definitely not a professional. And lastly, if you want to support the channel, feel free to sign up for a SEP IRA using the link below and score yourself that free bonus. Best of luck out there, and I'll see you in the next video.